Okay, so sparing you some of the gory details of the early part of the journey this morning, we're going to go off to Cwm Croesor, which is just north of Porthmadog. Quite well out of the way, really. Do a little bit of photography. Just generally have a nice day in the last remaining warm days of summer. It's coming up on the Llanfair bypass, where we might have some filtering fun again. Quite busy on the roads today, quite a few grass cutting roadworks going on. So like most journeys to relatively unknown places, sat-nav's kind of useful for last remaining sort of mile or so, quite out of the way roads. Looks like we'll get away with not much filtering, or any filtering in fact. Narrowly stay in this lane. We've got a slip road coming up. The concept that completely mystifies people behind, of course. There you go. Another slip road safely passed. It looks like we'll get by relatively straightforwardly today, behind these people who'll be completely lost that I can overtake them. Getting quite busy on the westbound. That'll be the early weekend traffic. Weather's breaking down for most of the country, but looks like it's going to be quite nice in North Wales. And the slightest inkling of a good forecast brings them all out in droves. There we go, clear on. Go. Thinks he can get ahead of a motorbike? Well, you know, only just. I don't really use the action cam as a dash cam. It tends to be on more often than not, so any little mishaps, we shall be sending him off to Operation Snap. Only in the worst cases. Everybody makes mistakes and exhibits slight impatience, but some things are so egregious that they really should be reported, if only to save other people from any accidents. Okay, we'll maybe switch you off for a while, see you in a little while. Okay, well I've spared you a good 20 minutes of journey because being the equinox, the sun's pretty low to the south and we've been travelling due south for all that time, and so you'd probably just be annoyed with a bit of a sun glint or something. In fact, it might still be even though we're going a little bit further east now. But let's cover the run up to Porthmadog. We're about 5 minutes or so out from Porthmadog, something like that. And according to the GPS, we're 24 minutes out from our destination in Cwm Croesor. It's a very beautiful, long glacial valley just behind Blaenau Ffestiniog. And you can get to the back wall of Cwm Croesor from Blaenau Ffestiniog, or from Tanagrisha, the nearby town, or nearby village, by walking. But there's no real road up to it. There's a sort of farm track, but it's not a public road. But there are plenty of public footpaths from which we can make our way from Croesor village itself, where we'll park up and change from bike man to hike man. So it's a classic bike and hike day today. Very warm. It's been a consistent 21 degrees Celsius, although just by Penygroes a few miles back I seem to hit a wall of heat, or it suddenly jumped by about 2 or 3 degrees, I'd say. Very noticeable. The wind's coming from the northeast, so we get the fawn effect, which quite often seems to happen at this time of year, where moist air comes from the east, rises up over the mountains, the moisture is taken out as condensation, or such condensation as there is, and the dry air comes down the other side on the west side. So because the air is drier, it warms up quicker, and even in November, when that happens on a sunny day, it can be hovering around 20 degrees Celsius when we get the fawn effect. It's quite a remarkable effect, really. And the mountains of Aurora are not particularly high. They're only 3,500 at maximum, 3,500 feet, that is. So there we go, and there's the Carmarthen Bay out to our right. Get a better view maybe at the top, although it's pretty hazy today again with a northeasterly wind, bringing all that pollution from the continent, where they still burn coal and lignite. A few twisties here, got to be careful with. There's a few very blind minor road junctions along here. They're pretty nasty actually. There should be, it's Carmarthen Bay out there. We're only really seeing as far as Llanbedr, where there's an old RAF base and still an airfield. So we're not seeing very far at all today. Which is a shame, because the scenery around here is really very pretty. But we'll see some of it at least. Porthmadog right ahead. A couple of minutes out now. On the right hand side of this hill that we see in the front of his shot there, you have what's it called? Is it called White Sands Bay or something, the Englishers call it? Very popular, and in the summer very densely packed beach, quite a long beach, various camping sites, caravan sites along there, which makes Porthmadog a pretty busy place in the summer, really for most of the year these days. Porthmadog, for those of you who've got any interest in the industry of North Wales, was a hub of activity where all of the slate from the Blaenau Ffestiniog area was shipped to by there's things you don't expect to see. Where all the slate was shipped to by rail, gravity rail for the most part, hauled back by empties, hauled back by horses. But the fulls were essentially given a shove, and I guess there was a guy with a brake at the back, and it went by gravity all the way down to Porthmadog, which is quite a journey if you've ever been on the steam train from Porthmadog to or from Blaenau-Ffestiniog. And from then on, sailing ships would be loaded up and taking the product all across the world. And it really did go all across the world. I was looking at some photos just last week of a museum in Helsinki that is being restored, the roof being restored with a fresh batch of Welsh slate, and a very pretty artistic job it was too. Now then, I'm just going to focus a little bit because we've got a left-hand turn coming up on this roundabout. The happy biker. So this is the old way to Porthmadog via Tremadog, which is what's the speed limit? Was it 20? I don't know. Let's sort of keep it somewhere in the middle. According to the GPS, the speedometer on the old Versys is reading slightly high by 1 or 2 miles per hour, around about 30-40 miles an hour, and it reads about 3 miles an hour high at the higher speed limits. So there we go. Pretty warm in Tremadog as well. Distinct smell, that sort of smell you get of overripe food when the air's warm. Something of the North Africa smell about everywhere today in this very late summer sun. So the GPS becomes a little bit handy. I know this way quite well. Takes you back into the heart of Eryri should you carry on in a straight line, but we'll be splitting off to the right in a couple of miles, I guess. So yeah, back to NSL. Not terribly familiar with this road, so we'll take it fairly easy. Sorry if you're getting any excessive noise on the mic today. I've got the visor cracked up because it is back up to 22 again. As soon as you sort of get nestled in behind the mountains in the lee of the wind, temperature goes up by a couple of degrees. Is quite noticeable. Another happy camper. To be perfectly honest, I had in my mind that I'd be taking a different route, but the GPS is taking me another way. Well, that's okay. Got a turn off coming up in a mile and a quarter, according to this. There we are. Why not just park everywhere? Well, then again, who can blame them? It's better that they're out than in. Here's an Araf corner, which of course for all you people who come to Wales quite often will know means slow, and with good bloody reason on this one as well. Actually, that's quite a corner. Quite expecting that one. Well, I should have been, because I remember that on the map. Yeah. A little bit of trail braking there. Keeps everything under control. Bit of a twisty-turny journey. Going along this Morva, this very flat land. Morva means what would you call it in English? Sort of a sea estuary, I suppose, which would have flooded, I guess, in the days before the... there you go, another corner there. It's a nice one. before it was walled off, as it were, rendering a big salt flat, I suppose. I guess it's good for rearing sheep. Cattle. Apparently the salt marsh sort of environment gives them a better taste, a premium price, of course. Well, here we are. We're coming off, I don't know, from here. Is it here? No, it's not there, is it? No, it's the next one. Here we go. Brown signs are a bit of a giveaway. Here we go. Garreg, I know Garreg. And Llanbrothen, from where I used to get water samples every day when I used to work for Welsh Water as a water quality microbiologist. A very long time ago, mid-80s. Samplers used to come out in the morning. There were about 3 or 4 of them, and then they dumped their 120 odd samples by just after lunchtime, and we'd have to process those in triplicate. Just going over the parallel to the Forest Madlag to Blaenau narrow gauge railway here. Yeah, so we'd have to process effectively 120 samples times at least 3 different dilutions to make sure we were getting the right numbers at the end. Plus things like fecal streptococci and sometimes salmonella. So yeah, probably around about 500 individual samples that we had to process between coming back from lunch and going home at sort of 5:30. Quite hard work. Not a lot of time for dawdling, certainly. So the big peak, the very prominent peak that you see in the middle of the shot on your left there is Cnicht, which is a Welsh corruption of the English knight. If you say the K in night and turn the GH into a sort of guttural sound, that's where you end up with Cnicht, which is what we call it in Welsh. Never actually been to the summit of it, but I'm not much of a guy who subscribes to the idea that you must go to the summit of everything. I just like having a nice day out in the hills. But I've been very close to it, and it would just be an academic exercise. I'm sure I'll go one of these days. Not much of a summer walker. I tend to start walking from this time of the year, sort of September onwards. It gets a little bit cooler and quite a lot quieter. The mountains ahead are the Moelwyn Mountains, Moelwyn Bach on the right, Moelwyn Mawr on the left. Just behind there is Blaenau Ffestiniog. So Cwm Croesor, where we're headed, is just on the right hand side of the peak of Cnicht that you can see over there. It's jolly pleasant around here. I'm not persuaded I've ever been here, to be honest with you. Pay a bit of attention to the old map coming up, and we're going to go on an uphill left here from Danu Arms. Oh, I've heard of that, but never been. I don't really go out for meals these days. The roads quickly get quiet. It's a jolly pleasant little terrace of houses there. Quite sure about the colour, but there you go. Another terrace, isn't it? These are probably quarrymen's cottages originally. Very nice houses actually, very typical of this area, stone built. Much better houses than modern stuff. There's a little sign there, yeah, we're going off to Croesor here. Oh, this is a jolly nice gatehouse. So you've got 2¼ mile or so up this narrow road, which I'm going to have the visor up for this, I think. We're halfway down anyway. Keep forgetting that there are, in fact, flies still around. Although we're going pretty quietly and calmly around here. What a god awful colour they got. It's like some kind of 1970s council colour. Right, so we're going on from there. Well, this has got the prospects of being a bit of a dangerous. There we go. There you go. Absolutely no concept that a bike weighs a quarter of a ton on a hill. They've got a big car, and there you go. But yeah, a good object lesson there in anticipation on these roads. Here comes another one in a bit of a hurry. There you go. A quarter-ton bike is quite a machine to handle, you know. There's this sort of sense that you don't really need to be civil on the road anymore. And there's always this sort of underlying current that motorbikes are really a bit of a nuisance and shouldn't really be on the road amongst the old cage drivers. There we are, we mustn't be too bitter. It's the kind of trouble you will run to on a road like this, combined with corners and hills. It can get quite hairy, especially when people are in such a hurry. Don't be in a hurry on a road like this. It's better that you bring it to a stop, even if the other guy can't. But away from all the traffic angst, it's a very pleasant road. I'm not entirely sure. I think I probably would have ended up on this one anyway. There's a couple of small roads leading to the same place. But you know, well, this is a nice day out. We're not in any hurry, so taking it easy is no problem for me. Here comes another one. There's a jolly sensible sort of person there. Thank you. Well, I wouldn't like to go down there, would we? We're in neutral. It's not good, is it? There's a very nice area here. I wonder how I haven't been down here before. Probably because I just see it from above when I go walking. Alright, let's go on the other side of the road so they can see us coming a bit earlier. And that last lady there, she had the head screwed on and was smiling. It doesn't take much, does it, people? Not really. So yeah, wow. Look at that. Seems to be the remains of a slate quarry down the bottom there, actually. I can't look around too much. This is very much like the road to Cwm which is another out of the way valley. Very small. This one's not quite as gravelly as, well, in fact it's not at all as gravelly as the one up to Cwm which is about 3 miles long, so it's about the same really, isn't it? So, you know, it'll take you a good sort of quarter of an hour, 20 minutes of careful driving to get through. Tell you what, the old Versus engine's warming my legs up nicely. Not that I need it today. It's still 20 degrees here, even though we're in a bit of shade. Gosh, there's some very nice places to live down here by some river. They probably have to pay a reasonable insurance premium, what with the flooding and all. It might surprise you to learn it's not always this nice in this part of the world. Here we go. Right. So yeah, according to a little glance at the clock there and an earlier glance at the GPS, I should be at the car park in about 10 minutes or so. Seems about right to me. There's some nice twisties coming up as well on the GPS. Although we'll be taking about 20 miles an hour. Nothing much more than that. Yeah, I bet the houses are pretty expensive down here. There's a happy walker. There you go. Ah! Copter fly. There we go. That's what visors are for. You can take them about 20 miles an hour. That went straight to the corner of my eye, thankfully. Hit you right in the middle. It takes you a while to recover. Right, take it easy here. Bit of a left-hand turn onto a bridge. Ooh, a bit of gravel. Bit of a tip for you if you're keen on nice winter weather driving. Here's a classic corner. Hey, there's a hard not pass corner for you, not quite as steep, but yeah, you're not using the engine power properly there, you're off, especially with a passenger. Don't come along roads like this in winter. They get iced up. And you know, you wouldn't really get a car, well in fact you would not get a car up here, let alone a bike. You're only going to come off, so don't even try. Because you might find it difficult even to turn around when you realise it's not suitable. Ah, and there's the sign saying Croesor. Those of you who like a bit of urban adventuring or mine adventuring, whatever you call it these days, will know that there's a slate quarry up at the end of Cwm Croesor, above Cwm Croesor in fact. Not a lot left on the surface, but there is a tunnel that goes through, and through the use of some ropes and a kayak that's permanently attached to ropes on a flooded slate chamber inside, you can get through to Croesor slate mine. I've never done it myself. I've done a lot of underground quarry stuff, but not that one. I'm kind of interested to know where this is taking me. Is it taking me to the village? I think I probably should have come off, but anyway, not to worry. I think it's probably taking me to the end of this public road, and then I'll have to either ask for somebody to whether I can park my bike at the house, or else walk it. I'm keen on that idea. If there's any Welsh people breaking out into Welsh as the universal passport for favours, but all too often these days their holiday homes, Airbnbs or whatever, bad visibility on this road. Yeah, this is pretty much the end of this road, I think. There's a kind of a place to park there, but it's not really for a bike. Yeah. Oh dear. Okay, give it a rest for a minute in case we come across people.